Just count like 3, 2, 1, and then.
Are you ready, Sam?
I'm filming whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. I just go.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
No.
Okay. Hi there. My name is Annika Christensen, and thank you for taking the time to review my application. The first question asks sort of where I am right now in life, and to be honest, this time in my life is equally exciting and uncertain. I'm currently in Washington, D.C., as you can tell, finishing up an internship with the Department of State. The experience interning here has been amazing. It's honestly surpassed my wildest expectations. And then next Saturday, I'm gonna be flying back home, and I'll only have a few more months till I graduate with my bachelor's degree, and I'm gonna be looking for jobs. So I'm equally parts thrilled and a little terrified of that transition. This trip to DC was actually my first time ever on the East Coast, and being here has really invigorated me to go out and see more of America. Our country is so vast and one of the most diverse in the world, and I'm just itching to learn more about it. So hopefully this spring I'll be doing that in a big Road Trip Nation van.
Rolling.
The second question is...
Yeah, the second question is...
Why are you passionate about democracy?
Okay, just ask the question.
We're rolling.
The second question is, why are you passionate about democracy?
That question takes me back to my 6th grade civics class, where I vividly remember there was a poster on the wall that said, voting, a right and a responsibility. And at that time, the phrase just kind of went in one ear and out the other. But as I've gotten older, the responsibility part really sunk in for me. You know, if we take all human beings that have ever lived on Earth, there's only a tiny, tiny fraction that had the power in their lifetime to change their society and their government. And as a woman, the right to civic participation is even rarer. You know, self-determination through your government, it's a human right, but that doesn't mean that it's a given right. So when I think of all the women who came before me, and the women actually living today in 2024 who can't vote, who can't even open their own bank account in some places and in some cases in the world, that fuels my fire for democracy. It's that idea that it's not just a right, it's a duty. We have a duty as the privileged few to participate in our democracy and defend our democracy, because it is precious and rare. And if people don't participate, the system falls apart. So we shouldn't take it for granted by being apathetic.
And we are rolling.
The third question is, how do you think we can strengthen democratic participation and civil discourse?
Okay, I'm gonna start with democratic participation and then I'll move on to the second part. So the most important thing to democracy is to just vote. You know, getting young people registered and out to the polls is #1 for democratic participation. But we also need to increase awareness about state and local elections. I think it's kind of ironic because state and local elections are where our votes have the most power to make change, and yet turnout is as low as 20% for those elections. So motivating voters to show up, I think it starts with civic education in public schools and then extends into adult life with, you know, information campaigns. You gotta see that on social media, in the news, to know why it matters and to show people that they have the power to change things through their vote. And then the second part, civil discourse. I wrote my capstone paper actually on polarization and the decline of US civic health. And all the research that I looked at pointed to the fact that social media algorithms encourage polarization, radicalization. They're designed to make you angry, you know, anything to get more engagement and views. So I think that that is a massive contributor to some of the problems in our civil discourse. I think it's a sad thing that we're at the point in America where many people view Democrat or Republican, depending on your personal leaning, to be an insult. You know, a reason why you wouldn't get dinner with someone or you wouldn't invite them to your party. I think the first step in combating this is holding media companies accountable when they allow really dangerous misinformation or radicalizing material to spread on their platforms. But much more importantly than that is opening up dialogues between people with different political views. People who I meet in my day-to-day life of all political stripes agree that the vitriol in our current civil discourse is a problem. I think that when you bring people to the table and name that as an issue, you set the conversation up for success. So I believe we need to start with that, a grassroots movement to get Americans to know one another, to see that most people across the aisle are not the really far extremists they see all the time on TV, but they're just normal people with real concerns, even if those concerns are different from your own.
Rolling.
The fourth question asks...
Stop it. Still rolling.
Just cut all this out. Cut it all.
I'm more nervous than you are. The fourth question asks, what kinds of career paths or areas are you interested in exploring?
That's a really hard question for me to give a succinct answer to, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm really interested in civic education and democracy, so...
And
Okay.
back to it.
Okay. I'm really interested in civic education and democracy. So working a job where I could educate people, encourage them to vote, whether that be in journalism or advocacy work, I think that would be really fulfilling for me. But I also have a really keen interest in international affairs. That's what I'm studying at university, and I also speak a second language, so that kind of goes hand in hand with international work. I'm very passionate about climate issues. Climate change is a problem of profound magnitude that needs immediate action from every country in the world. And the way that I see it, that sort of multilateral collaboration is not going to happen without a shift in our economic policy. So that intersection between climate needs and economic concerns and how the United States can be a force for global change, that's what I'm really interested in when it comes to international affairs.
The fifth question says, what questions or challenges do you have about working in a career that's helping to advance democracy in some way?
So this is actually a question I pose to a lot of foreign service officers that I've talked to while interning at Department of State, which is, where is your line? If you work for a democracy, the policy of that government is always subject to change. And if the people of America elect someone that you staunchly disagree with, how do you continue to do your job upholding policies that you don't support? So I think that coming away from those conversations, I kind of realized that anyone working in government needs to decide early on what their line in the sand is. You need to have non-negotiables in order to keep yourself grounded. So I believe that being effective in any workplace, especially in the government of a democracy, principal compromises are critical to making progress. That you have to be prepared to lose battles and to give ground in some areas in order to move the needle forward overall. But if you don't know where your line in the sand is, you may end up losing the ideals that brought you to public service in the first place. So I think figuring out where my line in the sand is my biggest question about the future of my career.
The sixth question asks, why do you want to participate in RoadTrip Nation's Democracy Road Trip?
Well, of course, you've already heard from my other answers that I'm passionate about democracy and I really want to see more of the United States. Those are really big reasons why I wanted to apply for RoadTrip Nation. But the thing that really cemented my excitement about this program is that it's not like anything else that I've ever done before. At first, I wasn't even fully sure if I should apply. Being on the go, nonstop for a month straight with two absolute strangers, all the while being filmed for a documentary when I have zero experience in front of a camera, besides right now, I guess. It's something completely outside my comfort zone. But it really didn't take me long to realize that that's exactly why I need to apply. The best advice I've ever received is that we learn and grow the most when we're uncomfortable. So having this experience with RoadTrip Nation would be such an incredible opportunity for me to learn and grow with you all. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and I hope to hear back from you soon. Bye!